Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing this bronzy smoky eye using an OG palette. We are going to be dipping into the Urban Decay Original Naked palette. Yes, I have mine. I'm sure a lot of you still have yours. I did go through a couple of these. This one I didn't touch too much, which is why it's like in pristine condition, but I wish they would bring this back. And you know the drill. We're going to start off with primer. This is the Sigma Beauty eyeshadow primer in the shade Persuade. I'm just applying a light layer all over. This will help conceal the discoloration, but also give me a nice base for the shadows. And I'm just buffing that out with some Zoeva brush that is very much discontinued. So for the eyeshadows, I'm starting out with the shade Naked, and with a Sigma E35 brush, I'm first pressing that into the crease, and then I'm just doing back and forth motions. This is just a little bit darker than my skin tone, and it is honestly one of the most perfect transition colors if you are close to my skin tone. I know I always say it, but start less and build up. So I'm slowly building up this crease color. I want the most definition directly in that crease area, and then I want it to fade nice and lightly towards the brow. Next, I'm going to take the shade Buck, which is another one of my favorite eyeshadows, and I'm going to be using a Sigma, which one is this? Sigma E49 brush. This is a newer one in my collection, and I love it. It's very similar to the E35, but it's a little bit tapered and a little bit shorter. But I'm putting this color kind of directly in that natural crease and then fading it upwards. This brush just allows me to get like right in there. And I'm also putting that on the outer corners of my eye. You know what's funny about this palette is when it first came out, it was like the warmest eyeshadow palette ever. And now I look at it and I feel like it's very neutral because things have gotten so orangey over time, but it is what it is. So now I'm going back in with that E35 brush with no additional product just to further diffuse those edges out. Next, I'm going in with one of my favorite shades in this palette. Actually, the next two are probably my two favorites. This is the shade Dark Horse. One thing I feel like this palette does great is like bronzy shades. They're not too orangey or coppery bronze. They're like true bronzes, and I absolutely love them. I'm taking a E42 brush, and I'm just packing that on the outer corner, and then you can see I'm kind of diffusing inwards to kind of shift that shimmer towards the like center of the lid. And again, with this, I'm just slowly building up that color. And then once the most of the product is off of my brush, that's when I'm kind of bringing it up into the crease and then dipping in that previous brush, again with no additional product. I'm just diffusing those edges, making sure everything's nice and blended and it's kind of suiting my eye shape. Once I feel good about my blending, I'm going to go in with probably my favorite shade in this palette. This is Smog. This one is like a true bronze. And I'm taking a Sigma E57 brush and I'm packing that the rest of the way over. So like the inner half, it's just a little bit lighter, a little bit more bronzy than the Dark Horse shade. And the two combined are just like chef's kiss. It's shimmery without being like too much shimmer, too chunky. It's just a very smoothing shimmer, if that makes sense. And I'm just blending that out with no additional product. Next, I'm taking the shade Creep and a Sigma E30 pencil brush. I just wanted this to be a little bit darker. So you can see I'm doing patting motions because I did already do my concealer and I don't want it to be all over the place. So I'm packing it on the very outer corner and I'm kind of dragging it along the outer like half of the lash line just to, again, give more of like a smoky look to the eye. We're so used to doing these like smoky looks with more matte shades, but if you look at a lot of makeup artists, they actually use a lot of shimmers for this. So I feel like that's what this palette kind of embodies. But I'm just going back in with that E42 brush to blend everything out. Again, no additional product. Now I'm going in with my KVD Tattoo Liner in Trooper. This is still my favorite liquid liner. I have yet to find anything as good. And I actually managed to show you my entire eyeliner, so this is going to be kind of a longer clip. But I like to start from the outer corner of my eye and drag it out. And then you see I just do one smooth motion inwards and then just kind of fill it in. And then I tweak it, make it thicker, make it straighter. If you go a little bit too thick on the wing, that's fine because we'll clean it up in just a minute. But I just absolutely love this liner. If you have one that you like better, let me know. But I'm going in with I think this is a MAC 212 brush. I could be wrong on the name, but I'm just taking a little bit of concealer and just really sharpening that up and blending it out with my finger. Once I get the liner how I want it, I am going to go in with some mascara. This is the Hourglass Unlocked Mascara. I'm just doing enough to kind of darken the lashes, not really to make them thick, because I am going to go in some lashes. These ones are from Amazon. I've been absolutely loving these. I need to order some more. I will have them linked down below because I don't know the name off the top of my head, but they're pretty dramatic and wispy, and they just go really well with a wing liner. Listen, I know I use this all the time, but MAC Costa Riche is literally the best waterline eyeliner. If you have green eyes, if you like pretty warm, brown, smoky eyes, it's just so perfect. So for the lower lash line, I'm basically doing all the things that we already did. I applied Naked and then Buck with a fluffy brush. I use a Sigma E25 for that. And I'm just making sure that is nice and low. That's just how I like to take my eyeshadows. If you don't like a very blown out lower lash line, you can just use smaller, more dense brushes. And with that Sigma E55 brush, I'm just applying Dark Horse on the very outer corner and then Smog on the inner half. So I like to make sure that the outer corner of my lower lash line is dark and smoky to match like a thick wing whenever I have one. So I'm taking a Sigma E15 brush in that creep shade and just put it on that very outer third. Next, I'm taking the shade Half Baked with a Morphe E19. I don't know if they still make this. And I'm just putting that on the inner corner, but I'm also dragging it into the very inner of the lower lash line as well as bringing it up onto the lid. But that is it for this entire look. I applied some mascara on the bottom lashes, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you still have your Urban Decay palette and what are other videos you want to see with a throwback palette, and I'll see you in my next one.